These are the most secure buildings on Earth. The White House, the Pentagon, the Kremlin, and George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch.
Hey guys and gals out there. Hello R2. How you doing? Alright. He's trying to steal the limelight. I'm sorry. Listen, so this is my second video that we're going to be shooting, and I think that to get started, I'd like to let you guys know a little bit about me and my past and history and what's relative to the world of Star Wars and what I love so much about it. So, not to bore you too much, but this story is actually going to be about how I got arrested for trespassing at Skywalker Ranch. It's pretty funny, it's very innocent, but yet, yes, it was amazing, let me tell you. You know, I for so many years I wanted to be involved, and I got to, you know, sneak on and see these beautiful images of Skywalker Ranch, and got to finally meet George Lucas, and you know, he was so cool, talked to me, and I got my first shot in the industry, and that didn't happen. That's what I really wanted to happen. So let's roll back a little bit, and let me just let you know a little bit about how it started. What happened is right out of high school, I was, you know, inspired by Star Wars like so many of you out there, and I wanted so much to be in the film industry, you know, whether I wanted to direct. I didn't know exactly which avenue I wanted to take, but I definitely wanted to be, you know, in the film industry somehow, some way. And so straight out of high school, I moved to Los Angeles from Texas all by myself, and it was scary, but you know, I was motivated. I wanted to get into the industry somehow. And so what I had done is I had picked up some jobs. I was sneaking on sets and, you know, getting to know the security guards and whatnot, and got to be good friends with them, and some of them would let me go on some of the sets, like at Lorimar Pictures, which is now Sony, and it was awesome because I got to go see the sets. Back in the day, I'm 51, I was 20 years old, and I got to see sets like Little House on the Prairie in Dallas, and you know, some movies that were being built, like Joe and the Volcano with Tom Hanks, and I got to get onto a set that I snuck on, which was Arachnophobia, and it was great because I got on through the security guards would let me on, and I met this really cool guy who let me on there. He was Grip, and he's done so many films with Spielberg, Amblin Pictures, and he was so cool, and he let me on, and I got to, you know, see this beautiful scene of Venezuela, and it wasn't Venezuela, it was a set with waterfalls, and I was so amazed. And what was really cool, they had a director's chair like this, and it said Steven Spielberg. I was so excited. I never got to see Steven Spielberg at that time, but what was really cool is I got to work on this guy, took me in, he was like, let me help him, and remember, I snuck on the set, so I wasn't really supposed to be there, and even back in the day, you know, in the 90s, early 90s, security was pretty tight. So anyways, I had gotten pretty good and knew everybody, but the DP on the floor came up to me at the end of the day, and he says, hey, who are you? And I said, my name's Michael. And he says, do you work here, or are you employed here? And I said, no, sir. He goes, you can't be here. So I was a little bummed, but yet the Grip guy at the time, his name was Jack, and he said, hey, screw that guy. I'll see you back here tomorrow. So sure enough, I came back and started working on the set the next day, and I actually got to be a part of the film when in Arachnophobia, when all the bugs are falling out of the trees, and there's like, prepare yourselves, gentlemen. I'm one of the guys dropping the bugs, and if that guy wouldn't have said, hey, don't worry about that guy, come back. And that's inspiration, and that's motivation and determination, and what I wanted to do to be a part of it so much. And I was able to do that. You know, I came back, I got to work on it, and so fast forward a year into it, living in Los Angeles, I was away from, you know, my family, I of course was single, I wasn't married, I was right out of high school, but you know, it's lonely in LA. You know, I'm not used to walking up to somebody and saying, hey, how you doing? And they look at you like, who's this freaking guy, you know? But anyways, you know, that's just how it is. There's just so many different type of people that move to LA, and there's so many crazy people that nobody trusts anybody, right? Well, it's not that way back where I'm from. So anyways, a year into this deal, I was working for a model shop and getting to meet some unbelievable artists in the industry, working in the model industry. And I had decided that I wanted to move back to Texas, and I figured that the best opportunity that I might have to work in the film industry is to do my own thing, like independent. Robert Rodriguez did it. He was breaking in the same time I was, but yet he was going the right way, not the back scene way, you know? And anyway, so I moved back to Texas, and I was able to, I got back here, and I was kind of feeling down, like maybe I failed not making it in Los Angeles. But, you know, I still wanted to be a part of Lucasfilm somehow, some way. Lucas, he couldn't stand Hollywood. You know, that's what I was like thinking. And, you know, he left and did his own thing. Well, you know, I thought, you know what? I want to be a part of George Lucas and what he's all about, and what he does to inspire, and what he's done for you and what he's done for me. I want to be a part of it like all of us do, right? So anyway, one day I schemed up a plan that, you know what? I'm going to fly to Skywalker Ranch. That's right, I'm going to fly to San Francisco. I'm going to rent a car. I'm going to go over the Golden Gate Bridge to San Rafael, and I see this road. It's called Lucas Valley Road. We're going to get to that. So anyways, that's what I did. I had no money to my name. I get a ticket, no plan. I'm going to stay in somewhere up there for a week, okay? But my plan is to, I don't know what my plan is, but I'm going to go. So I book a plane, I book a flight, excuse me. I book a flight, fly into San Francisco, crazy place. Don't know where I'm at, where I'm coming and going. But remember, I have a driver's license from California because I lived there for a year. So anyways, I'm able to rent a car. I get a brand new car, and I'm driving, and I get directions, and I have no idea where I'm going. I go over the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge in this brand new little teeny rental car, and I'm driving for a little ways, and I'm not even knowing, I have no plan, but to maybe run into George Lucas or one of his staff, or get on like I did over at Amblin and be able to work on the set like Spielberg did. I mean, they did it, I can do it, you can do it, right? So anyways, I'm driving and I see Lucas Valley Road, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's George Lucas's road. It has no meaning, it just is what I hear. It's just happens to be Lucas Valley Road. It has nothing to do with George Lucas's Skywalker Ranch being up in the hills. But I take the exit, and I'm driving up there, and I'm going up this windy, beautiful hill with no trees, and all of a sudden, I'm coming into trees, the forest, and I'm thinking, wow, this is where they shot the speeder bike run, you know, and I don't know exactly where it was ran, but I knew that it's this kind of familiar territory kind of thing, and these trees, you could drive your cars through them. It was so freaking beautiful, and absolutely I could see this would be where George Lucas would call home. So anyways, I drive, and I'm going, and I'm looking for the place, and over to the right is Skywalker Ranch. What am I going to do? I drive by it, kind of nervous, turn around, drive by it again, very nervous, and I'm like, let's do it. So I go, and I turn in, and I go in, and there's these gates, and I'm like, oh, there's gates. The gates started opening. I'm in. This was easier than I thought, right? Wrong. Gates open. I pull in, I'm driving down several hundred yards, come around this turn, security guard tower. Damn, what am I gonna do? It's a security. I'm not gonna bust through there, you know, so, you know, back in the 90s, a lot of you younger people might not know, but Eddie Murphy was really good at BSing and doing all this stuff in Beverly Hills Cop and all these things, so I was thinking, I'm just gonna wing it. So I pull up, and a guy opens up and he says, hey, how you doing? I go, pretty good, how you doing? And he says, can I help you? I go, yeah, I've got an interview on an internship at the model shop. And they go, model shop. I'm like, okay. And he's like looking through his papers, and he's looking through his papers, and nothing. Looking through his papers. And he goes, what's your name again? And I said, Michael. And he says, okay. Man, you know, I'm not finding you in here. Who did you speak with? And then I'm like, well, I'm looking at doing an internship. And he goes, but do you have an appointment? And I said, well, I don't really have an appointment. And he goes, okay, so what's your story? I said, well, if you want to know the truth, my story is this. I just flew in from Texas, you know, and I went to come in and see if I could maybe be a part of the, you know, work in the model shop. I got some experience there and everything. He goes, man, that's awesome, and I love your enthusiasm, but let me get this straight. You flew in from Texas and drove all the way up here, and you don't have an appointment? And I was looking at him, I'm like, yes, sir. And he goes, man, I'm really sorry. He says, but this is what I can do is I can pass it on. Do you know what hotel that you're staying in? And I had already got a quick room. And he goes, okay, and this was before cell phones, by the way. So he says, okay, so I'll have somebody call you. This is the person that works in that department, and they'll have to call you, okay? But I can't just let you on. And I said, I understand. So I turn around, and I drive out of there. I'm bummed out, right? Just flew in, drove up here, denied, okay? So I go back to the hotel room, and I'm sitting there for a little bit, and I'm thinking to myself, man, can't believe this. I'm supposed to stay here a week, you know, and now what am I going to do? A week. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just sneak on. So what I did before, and it worked. So I'm going to do that here. So I took my wallet, everything that I have, and I left everything in the hotel room. I go and I get in the rental car, but I had like $9 that I think cash on me in my pocket. I was wearing shorts. It was starting to get evening time. Same day that I flew in, remember, this is all the first day that I arrived. So I'm driving back up on Lucas Valley Road, up the ranch, to the ranch, and I pass the place slow. Where am I going to put my rental car? So what I did is I found a place and I ditched it in the redwood forest amongst all these trees. Brand new car, and I'm off-roading this little car and just messing up. But anyway, so I got it nice and hidden, and I went across the street, and I followed the property line to the next person, which I would have thought was the next person, but their fence line versus Skywalker Ranch's property line. Could have very well been also Skywalker Ranch, but it was clearly a divided line. I jumped into their property. I went up probably about 15 minutes up this beautiful hillside, and I could see down, and Skywalker Ranch is like a huge bowl. It's a beautiful, beautiful facilities, and I looked down there, and I could just see all this activity, and I could see the buildings and whatnot. Couldn't see all the buildings, but I could see a lot of them. And I saw this huge jackrabbit. It looks like I could put a saddle on him and ride him. He was so huge. It was beautiful there. And it was starting to get dark, so it was getting kind of cold. Not dark, but the sun had gone down. So anyways, here it goes. Because it's down in the slope, you know, it was easy for me to jump over onto the property. So I jumped over onto the property. I go down through the woods, down the hill, and as I get closer down there, I could see this huge fire truck driving from the front to the back. It said Skywalker Ranch on the door. It was driving around and whatnot, and I'm like, wow, I'm actually here. So I could, where I was at, I had the high side, and I could see all these buildings. And keep in mind, I have no idea what buildings, what is for what, okay? But I do remember seeing George Lucas in the big, white, beautiful, Victorian-style house. And I was like, man, wouldn't it just be wonderful if he was there? And he invited me in, and me and him just talked, and we were able to work. I told him about my history and everything, and he was inspired by how I was inspired, and he brought me on. I got to be part of the crew, like so many people that actually made it on. Why couldn't I make it on? So anyways, that's my goal. When I get down there, I'm going to go to that White House. He might be there, he might not be, but I'm just going to wing it. So I go down. And I get down on the main road, so the security tower is way down that way, but I have to be careful because I don't want anybody to at first see me and think what's going on. So anyway, I'm going straight across this road, and I know it's now knowing it's their main road. So I go across this main road, and here comes a car. So I run, and I don't have anywhere to go, but there's these boxes, these white boxes, and they're bees. I don't know it, but I want to jump up on these to get over, and they're these like bumblebees. They have all these little bee deals there, which is awesome, but at the time I didn't know. I was just nervous. So I'm about 30 minutes in, and I get to where I want to go, but there's this beautiful water pond. I mean, it's pretty good size. You could jet ski on it, you know. But I knew I couldn't, you know, swim across or do anything like that. So the only way I could get across over there was to cross this bridge. And then I knew I had it made. So I had to work my way down that road without getting caught. It was really, really, let me just stop for a second just to say how unbelievable this place was. It was so beautiful. There is just, I mean, George Lucas and his staff, what they did, and the whole goal of what George Lucas did when he created this place is to not make it like Hollywood. He wanted it to be, you know what, this is the environment, you know, where people can actually have an imagination. You know, that's the one thing that Lucas did. He wanted people to have an imagination, to be able to inspire and to make things that much better and collaborate. And I mean, we know that they've done that, right? So anyways, back on the road, I see a golf cart coming, and I'm like jumping down. I mean, I'm like ninja. You know, I don't want to get busted yet because I'm not close enough to where I want to be. So anyway, the golf cart, it stops and it kind of turns around and goes back the other way. So I'm like, this is it. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go across that bridge, and once I get over, then I'll take it from the next step to get over to that house. So I go across that bridge, and there's a car coming out of this turn, and there's these beautiful vineyards that are coming down at an angle in this beautiful building on the left-hand side. So when you go over the bridge on the left, there's this beautiful building, and I'm going to show you in the video. So where this building is, there's a sidewalk that comes down to the main road. Well, as I'm going, I'm like, I have to be in the open. There's nowhere I'm going to be able to hide or anything, so I'm just going to walk like I'm part of the crew, right? Well, as I'm walking, this gentleman, and I can't remember his name, and I want to be real clear to say that he was very respectful. He looks down at me, sees me, he says, hey, how you doing? I go, pretty good, how you doing? And he goes, do you work here? And I said, not yet. That was the flag. That's all it took. I don't know what kind of codes that they have over there, but let me just tell you right now, there was no Airwolf helicopters and jets, but it was damn close, because we had every vehicle from every direction coming to this location in no time. It's like, boom. We had the fire trucks there. We had some regular pickup trucks there. And as I'm sitting there and I'm talking and all these people arrive and showing up, he's asking, were you the guy that came earlier today? And I said, yes, sir, I was. I was. And he goes, and how did you get in here? And I told him I jumped the fence. And he says, you can't be doing that. What's your story? And you know, and I told him I was pretty upset. You know, I was pretty emotional. I wanted to cry, actually. But I was like, look, you know, I just, you know, I want to be a part of, you know, Lucasfilm. I want a job. And he says, I understand, but this isn't the way to do it. And I said, I understand, I know. And he's like, it's getting a little cold. Would you like to go in the building? And I could see Yoda up there, up those stairs in the vineyards. And right now, I wish I would have gone up there just so I could have been in one of the buildings. Well, as all the other people are standing around, just, you know, looking for some action. I wasn't that guy. You know, he started asking me questions. You know, did you get into any of the buildings and anything like that? And I said, no, sir, I'm not here to break in or do anything like that. This is very innocent. I'm just here to be a part of, you know, what you do, you know. I mean, and he understood. He was really cool. So we sit there for a little bit, and it doesn't take very much longer for a police officer to show up in a police car. So he shows up, and they're down there talking, and these other guys, little Barney Fife guys, are just sitting there seeing if I'm going to make a run for it, which was not my intention. And guess who pulls up? George Lucas. No, not George Lucas. I wish it was George Lucas, but it was just more security. So anyways, I'm sitting there, I'm pretty bummed. The guys are talking down there, and he comes up and he says, Michael, we are going to press charges, and you're going to be arrested right now. And I was really bummed out. I was very calm. The police officer cuffed me, put me in the back seat of the car, and then I guess they decided to talk shop for about an hour because I was in the handcuffs in the back of this seat of this car. You know, just really upset. I couldn't even believe it. I'm at Skywalker Ranch in the back seat of a police car. You know, and I was just like, what a loser, right? So anyways, the cop finally gets in the car, and he's really nice, actually, and he's asking where I'm from. I'm telling him from Texas, and every one of them couldn't understand what I've done. So anyway, as we're driving out, he's like, how did you get in here? And I told him about my car. I rented a car, and I had it down, you know, in the deal. He was really, really cool. He didn't have my car towed. He told me he wasn't going to do that. About 30 minutes later, we went down Lucas Valley Road back into San Rafael, and I was put into jail. And I could hear the officers as I'm sitting in this really small jail cell talking about, oh, this guy just went and was at George Lucas's property, got arrested. And, you know, I just felt like such a bum. You know, I'm sitting in there and I'm like, man, can't even believe this. This is the first day. I was supposed to be there a week, you know. But anyway, so not even 30 minutes later, because I did have a California driver's license, I got released. So I wasn't in there all night. I got released. So as soon as I get out, it's probably about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And I don't know what to do but start running back up to where my rental car is. I mean, I didn't have any money. I had $8 on me. And I was a little numb from everything that happened. And as I start running up there, this guy stops in this little crappy truck and, you know, says, you need a lift? And I go, do you mind? He goes, no, I'll hop in. So he goes, I'm just going right up here. I'm going, you know, because I told him I was going up Lucas Valley Road. And he says, I'm not going that way, but I'm going to go up here and I'll give you right up to there. In that time frame, I explained to him that my rental car was up there and I had $8 on me, and I'll give him that $8 if he can just get me back to the rental car. And he decides that he'll do that. So we're going up there. He's driving really fast, and, you know, back then weed wasn't, you know, readily available in California, and he was asking me questions. You smoke weed? And I'm like, no, you know, no sir, you know. And I mean, I was helter-skelter. I didn't know who this guy was, right? But anyway, so we're going up this windy road back to where I needed to get to. And so when you get up there, keep in mind, we've got redwood trees that are sky high where you can't even see the stars. I mean, it is pitch dark. Well, when I saw the ranch entrance, I knew my car was around in that area, and he was starting to get freaked out like I was going to jump him or rape him or something crazy. And anyway, he just got really weird on me and said, hey, you got to get out of here. So anyway, I gave him my $8. I got out of the car. He left me, drove out of there, and I'm sitting in the middle of the street right by Skywalker Ranch. My rental car is in the redwood forest, hidden, and I can't see my hand in front of my face. You know, and then I start thinking of Jason Voorhees and all this other crazy stuff. But at the same time, I was a little pissed off with whatever happened, so I kind of manned up a bit. And about 25 minutes later, I found the rental car, opened it up, keys were on the floorboard, put the keys in there, drove back to the hotel room, felt like a failure, went to sleep. It was hard to go to sleep that night. It was really, really tough. I couldn't even believe what I did. I just felt so bad, and I was like, man, is George Lucas ever going to see this? Because if he does, you know, he's going to just think about like I'm some nutcase, you know, and I just didn't know what to think about it. So anyway, sleepless night that night. I was able to get a flight back that next day. I didn't know exactly what time I was, you know, I had about 2.5, 3 hours to spare before I had to be back at the airport. So as I'm driving back, I see the Lucas Valley Road exit. And I'm driving and I'm looking at it again, I'm looking at it. In the very last minute, I'm in the middle lane. Go right over Lucas Valley Road. That's right, I'm heading back up there. So I'm driving back up there, pull into the gate, the ranch door opens, and I'm going for it. I pull in there, I drive down, and as soon as I get there, the security guard knows who I am, and I said, look, I'm here, this is innocent. I wanted to talk to the ranch manager because he wasn't here last night, and I wanted to apologize. And anyways, all those vehicles, everybody storms up, and this guy, and I believe his name is David, and I know he's retired from the ranch now. He gets out, and he comes up to me, and he goes, come on over here. So we walk away from all the people and everything, and he goes, what's going on? What's going on? And I just started bawling. I just started crying. And I was like, sir, I had to let you guys know I'm on my way right now to the airport to fly out of here. And I need you guys to know that this was innocent. If you look in the back seat of my car, I have a couple scripts. You know, I didn't know where this was going to go, but I'm so inspired by everything, and I love film, and I want to be a part of it so much. And he's like, Michael, I understand. And I know that enthusiasm that you have. But you got to remember that George Lucas is a very important person, and there are some crazy people out there. And I said, yes, sir, I know. And he's had threats, and you can understand there's some odd people out there. And I said, yes, sir. And he goes, this is what I want to do. I want you to go back to Texas. I want you to take the time and write me a letter stating what you were doing and that you're sorry for what you're doing. And we'll drop the charges. So you don't have to worry about flying back up here to court and whatnot. So I'm like, yes, sir. I wanted to hug the guy. He was so classy. So anyways, I'm like, yes, sir, thank you. And everything calms down. He goes, all right, will you have a safe flight back? I said, yes, sir, thank you. Get in my rental car. I drive out of there. And I'm feeling a lot better. Because even though I know, hey, you know, you didn't get to go and meet George and do these other things that so many people get to do, that's okay. Take these experiences and pass it on. And when I left there, I want you to know that I didn't leave there like a failure, like I felt that night. When I left there that day, I felt that I could accomplish the world. And I knew that, you know what, maybe George Lucas will hear that this crazy kid from Texas flew in and, you know, he doesn't know who I am or what I was about, but I know this, though. I know for a fact. If he would have known then who I was and what I was about, like so many of you out there, he would have let me in. And he would have talked to me. Might not have given me a job, but I know how he rolls. And the one thing that I will say is that I don't take any of that back. It's an experience. I'm 51 years old now. You know, and this is way before fanboys, by the way. And, you know, it's one thing that I have, and it's kind of funny because this was way before computers back then, right? So this is right in 1990, and my wife said, hey, you ought to see if you could find your mugshot there and then put it up in your gallery. And I thought, oh, that's fantastic. So I did. I reached out to the San Rafael and the police department over there, and all those files are way gone. Nothing, that stuff isn't stored in computers or whatnot. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get my mugshot back then, being arrested at Skywalker Ranch. But moving on past that, you know, I was able to direct my first feature film in 16 millimeter. I started my own business, and ever since I was 22 years old to 51 years old, I've been self-employed. I've worked my ass off to make it big. But I will tell you this, that let this story, it's kind of goofy, but let it inspire you. And I hope it's fun for you to hear. And I want you to know that there's going to be so much more that I've got coming your way in regards to the ultimate gallery that we have built here for you. Okay? So listen, thanks so much for watching. May the force be with you guys. And let life inspire you. Don't let the things that are going on right now get you down. Take care of yourself, okay?